Sunny TV Arsenal people, and we're live. Today we're going to be talking about some breaking news, some crazy stories about Mesut Ozil and more. So stay tuned. Sunny TV Arsenal, let's get started. We got the boys with us today. I got a guest with me myself. I got my boy Ali with me. I got Kesh in the house. I got Levitt in the house, and we got Melvin in the house. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about a guy who divides opinions, who talks about a lot of stuff. And today we did an explosive interview on The Athletic with David Onstein, where he covered a range of topics. We're just going to go through a couple of them, and then we're going to jump straight back into the topics. So he was talking about, in his interview, he was talking about the pay cuts and why he wasn't going to take a pay cut. He was doing this while he was on vacation, actually. He was talking about this. He was talking about when he started at the club and how they won the FA Cup and how he was happy at the time. He was also saying his position is very clear. He's not leaving the club at any time soon. He's staying at the club until the end of his contract, and he does not want anyone else to decide when he leaves. He will be the one that decides that. Also talked about some controversial topics at the club, how he was still healthy after the lockdown, and the club told him to leave early before the FA Cup. They actually told him to leave. They didn't. They told him just go on vacation. You're good to leave. The infamous umbrella situation, and finally, the last topic, how the pay cut and how controversial that is, even to this day. That he was one of the people who said, "No, I'm not taking a pay cut," and the reasons why he decided not to take the pay cut. And yeah, we'll get into that. So, boys and girls, everybody tuning in, don't forget, subscribe to Sunny TV Arsenal and hit that like button. But guys, let's get into it. Ozil, what's your top? What do you guys think, man? Because this has been crazy all day. I'm gonna get started with Kesh.
For me, I don't see anything wrong with the clubs trying to force him out. At the end of the day, we can't find any use, and we're going to be paying him weekly. Let's force him out. Whatever means necessary. I understand Arsenal's been used by a lot of players in recent years, so it's about time we come with the same mentality as well. That's my take on it.
Okay. Melvin, what do you think?
Well, I think there's a couple of things to think about. First of all, I think he contradicts himself because he says he loves the club. Well, if he does love the club, then he could do a deal away, which would at least half what we'd have to pay him, because he wouldn't walk away and expect to get 350. Why should he? He signed it in good faith. We signed it in good faith. He should be getting 350 a week. That's, Gazidis' fault, perhaps, and Wenger's fault. But if he wanted to, he could actually do a deal where, say, we half his wages to the new club. I mean, if he is that really fantastic player that we all believe he was and could be, why doesn't a club take a guy like him for, say, £175,000 a week, get him on a free? It's a no-brainer, isn't it, if he's that good? So it just might be saying something that he's given out this, I'm not going anywhere, because perhaps there are no offers.
Yeah, I'm going to get Levitt to jump in here. Levitt, what do you think about this topic and what he's saying right here? His position is quite clear. What are your thoughts on that? That he's not leaving and he's not going anywhere, and he'll decide when he goes.
It's a strange one. It's a really strange one. Like, I don't know what's going on right now. Look, firstly, I guess a couple of things I've got to ask the question with is we'll go into, I guess, at some point is, would we do it if we were in his position? At the end of the day, this is their job, right? Is it all his fault that he's been given this contract? And when he works it out and he works out how much he's going to lose if he goes elsewhere, for example. So we could touch on all of that. But he seems to be trying to tell us something else in the background. He seems to be trying to tell us he was fit. He seems to believe that this was more, there's more behind this, in the sense of he feels it was due to the pay cut. There's another hint I think he's made a couple of times due to certain things that politically he brought up. So I think there's a few other things that he believes where this all stems from. And that's why another reason he's decided to stay. Because why else stay if you don't think you're going to play? But, we'll touch on all of that later on. But it's a weird one for me.
Guys, it's been so weird that he even just a couple of days ago, he was meeting with I think a manager for a team in a club
Istanbul.
in Turkey.
Yeah.
istiyoruz. İnşallah. Alacağız da.
You can see clearly that they were taking a picture, and he was saying in the video, "Are you ready?" And he's basically saying, "Yeah, I'm ready." And then he's saying, "Inshallah," basically implying that, hinting at that the fact that he might be going to Turkey sooner than later. It just goes to show you guys that his head is turned, and he's not really even at the club anymore to play football. He's really just at the club to collect a paycheck, in my opinion.
For me, I think he's putting up a front. Yeah, I think the club wants him gone, and he will be gone. Whether it's late in the window, he will actually be gone. I just think it's his ego now that's coming into act. Because the club wants him out, he's just saying, well, I'm going to decide when I'm going to go. But really, as a footballer in the last few years of your football career, yeah, you should want to play. That's why Sanchez has decided, I'm going to take nothing, I'm not going to take a bonus or whatever. I'm going to go into if I want to play it. I'll take whatever wage cut they need to, and I'll go. He needs to do the same. Like the clubs, I understand what Melvin's saying. I reckon there are clubs out there that would take him on a lower wage if he wasn't willing to take the cut. But I think now that Arsenal's forcing him and forcing his hands, he's gonna pay the Mr. Big Man. Like you decided to give me 350, so I'm gonna owe that for that.
Yeah, I got my boy here. Let him jump in. Ali, what do you think, bro? Because when it comes to this, like, what do you think about the whole Ozil situation? Because he has a whole different take on it than I do.
I think he's put himself in a difficult position. He played very well when he initially came to the club, and he put in a lot of great performances in an Arsenal shirt. That's slowed down under different managers, and he hasn't been playing a lot, and he hasn't been playing regularly under Arteta. I think my biggest problem with Ozil is the fact that, and I can't blame Ozil for this, but the fact that we're playing 350k is affected the wage structure throughout the whole club. Younger players might want to get paid more. You have Aubameyang over there saying, "Well, I put more work in than this guy, but he's still going to be getting paid more than 100k more than me with my new contract." So my biggest gripe with him, he had a detrimental impact on the club just because of how much he's paid. And then on top of that, he's a very, very outspoken person. And I can't disagree with someone being outspoken, especially when he was speaking about the Uyghurs suffering in China, which is something I personally agree with. But at the same time, if you're a professional footballer, most of your talking needs to be done on the pitch. That's a cold, stone hard fact. We need to see your talking done on the pitch. And in all honesty, he hasn't been doing a lot of talking on the pitch. Who was it? I think it was Levitt that brought it up. We haven't seen a good performance out of him in a long time. And it begs the question, who would be willing to take the risk on somebody at his age that is that outspoken and that would demand such a high wage? I don't think that he's going to have a lot of suitors.
Yeah, let Melvin jump in. Melvin?
Let's just put it this way. He's blaming perhaps about the wage deal that Arsenal wanted to do. He's blaming that he perhaps doesn't get on with the coach or manager as another excuse. He's made all these excuses, but what I would, and his political, I agree with what you say, I agree politically what he says, but he says because of that, it's against him. All I would say to you, swap the names. If Aubameyang was doing exactly what Ozil has done with what he's said and how he's been and how he's portrayed himself off the field, he would still be playing for the Arsenal because he, as you say, he would be doing it on the field. I don't care if he supports left wing, right wing, or whatever it is. You know, his views are his views, and they are, some of them, I think, well, most of them are quite intelligent, and I agree with. You know, they're really good views, but it's because of his football. If you don't do it on the pitch, you don't play, and stop making excuses.
But to be fair, Melvin, I completely I get what you're saying. But for the people who don't understand what we're talking about, in the article, he specifically spoke about the comparisons to the movement that was happening with the Black Lives Matter and the whole situation with George Floyd and how the whole world got against injustice and how he felt Arsenal were not backing him when he was speaking about the injustices that were happening to the Uyghurs in China. And to be safe, a lot of people do not want to touch that topic. And he kind of understands it, but at the same time, he felt hard done by that whole situation. He wasn't saying it was unfair. He was just saying that was a part that made him feel bad.
But like I just said, if Aubameyang took that same stance, he would still be playing for the Arsenal.
Yeah, true.
Can I say something as well?
Yeah.
Look, I want us to look at all angles. It's so easy for us to just blame Ozil, right? But I can't help but think that has been conveniently sort of brushed under the carpet and all pointed at Ozil for it being his fault. We didn't give it, like, he didn't ask for 350 grand. We gave him 350 grand. It's a contract. Fact, right? I don't want anyone in this chat group, anyone in this podcast, right? You go to work tomorrow. You've done a great job for 2-3 years. Your boss pulls you in and says, "Hey, you know what, mate? You've been doing a great job. So I'm going to give you a huge pay rise, and you'll be contracted with that pay rise, guaranteed for the next 2 or 3 years." I'm going home. I'm telling my family, "Hey guys, we've had a pay rise. We're going to live within these means, etc., etc." Right now, these guys want him to walk away from earning what, 17 million or so a year. Right now, no one's going to come close to the salary he's on. No one. Right. The only people that probably would love to have him are the Turks. And I'm a Turk, so I can tell you that. They would love to have him tomorrow. What are they going to give him? 100 grand maybe at a push? Nowhere near that. Probably 75, 50, 60, 70 grand. Who knows? Would you in the chat group and any of us in this podcast be willing to walk away from earning 17 million to then go off and make 5 million a year for the next 2 or 3 years? This is a family, man. He's still working. It's his job. To us, it's a club. We love the club. Get it. 100%. But who's taking ownership from the club, and why is he the one getting all the flack? That's what I'd like to know.
Okay, let Kesh jump in.
For me, it's not a blame. I don't blame him because for me, it's not a blame game. It's not his fault that he's been put on such a high wages. At the end of the day, Arsenal never paid players that much before. Like, we broke our wage structure, and it's quite embarrassing to put someone on that doesn't give that output. But for me, what I've seen in the report is that they're willing to pay him off. If that is true, and he's saying, "No, I'm not going to take that pay off. I'm going to stay," I think it's, as I said before, that's just him and his ego trying to fight back because he feel unduly like he's been treated unfairly, innit? But if the club willing to pay you, you take your compensation and you move on.
Have we actually seen that?
What are they going to do?
Actually said that.
Say it again.
That's what I've read.
We've offered him 18 million, and he's turned it down.
Turning it down. For me, that's just ridiculous.
Can't believe that. Can't believe that.
No, I'm with Melvin on this. Why is the man sticking around if they're willing to pay him off to go?
Can he get another deal with another club?
Yes, exactly. Melvin's spot on. I agree with Melvin on this. There's something not right about this, and there's a spin on it. Because if someone goes to you, "Oi, we don't want you at the club no more, but we're paying 18 million, you can go tomorrow," why wouldn't I then go off and set up another deal somewhere else?
You know what it is though? It's it's not good for his profile. Because now it's going to look, once he upset that payoff, it's going to look bad on him that, he's gone the whole season not playing. He doesn't want
Here's
that.
Here's the article.
Doesn't it look worse sitting there when people don't want you though?
Mesut Ozil has been offered 18 million. Basically, Mesut Ozil was offered 18 million by the club to free up his contracts for new recruits, and he refused to take 18 million pounds to leave.
There's at Mirror Football.
Yeah, Mirror.
That's the clue, isn't it? That's the clue.
David Ornstein actually mentioned something about it as well. But you have to understand, his contract is actually 24 mil for this last year. So it is a bit short. Maybe that's why he doesn't want to leave. He wants the whole thing.
But just to chime in there, if they were to pay him, I'm not sure if these reports are true, but if they were to pay him 18 million, I'm sure that he could get 6 million, 6 to 8, probably more from another club, one of the Turkish clubs per year, and he could 100%. Make up the difference. But yeah. I don't think, apart from, like Levan said, apart from the Turks, who would take him? Someone this outspoken has caused this much of an issue at Arsenal at his age. He's not an attractive transfer target.
No, to me, there's only probably three or four clubs that would even touch him at this point when it comes to putting him into a dressing room, let alone paying the money that he would need. On a free transfer, he sounds amazing, but to spend anything in the realm of 5 million a season for him right now, for a club that another club won't even do that. Let's be honest. This is not a guy who's still putting up 20 assists a season, 14 assists.
That's the football you're talking about, not about him being a troublemaker. Because believe me, teams, including ourselves, had troublemakers in our team, but we play them because they're decent footballers. Paul Di Canio was an amazing footballer, but he was a troublemaker. But Redknapp and managers like him took him on because they know he could do a job, and he did it brilliantly. So you can't have a team of angels, right? So all this about they're not picking him because he's signing him because he's not an angel and all that is forget all that. Do you think Roy Keane was the nicest man in the world? Do you think he was a troublemaker?
Lovely. He was lovely, man.
I mean, he was a wonderful player. Hate to say it, but he was. Just one other thing left, just to pick up on something you said. We gave him 350. I agree. We agreed it, but I don't believe that he walked in and they went, "Here's 350. Do you want it? Yeah, I'll take it." And I'm sure there was some negotiations going on. I'm sure there was people on his side pushing and pushing and pushing. So if Arsenal gave him 350, I suggest there might be a situation when those were going on that they turn around and go, "We want 400. All right, we give you 350." Thinking the Arsenal thinking, "No, we've done a great job here. We're only giving him 350. He wanted 400 or more." There must have been negotiations on the Ozil side. It's not as if we walked in, you had a great couple of years, mate. What do you want? Here's take 350. You're on. I don't know what was he on. 200 a week.
It's a bonkers figure, Melvin. I mean, look, right.
Of course it is.
I get what you're saying. But look, firstly, that's the agent's job, isn't it, to get the client as much money as they can. You've got a short lifespan as a sportsman, so you've got to get as much money as possible. I don't think anyone would have the audacity to walk in and ask Arsenal for 400 grand. I don't think anyone would think they get anywhere near it. They're probably shocked that they got the 350. Yeah. What might have happened is the agent might have gone, "Hold on a minute, they're a bit desperate here, right?" And he's probably tried it on a bit. He's come out there going like that. Can't believe you got it. So, I still haven't heard the answer to the questions from everybody, though, including you guys and in the chat room. If it was you guys and you had to walk away from that money, would you do it?
No.
I wouldn't. If they were willing to pay me 18 million and I could go get 6 somewhere else, I would, just for a matter of pride.
That's a big if, Kesh, but I agree with you, bro. If they did do that, 100%. But if they haven't, would you walk away from it? None of us in here would.
Yo, can I say something though?
Yeah,
Ali and me were talking about this earlier, and he was basically saying that the fact that he has so much pull and you can make so much money out of him. Don't forget, when Alexis Sanchez was leaving, Ozil was probably still one of Adidas's biggest players at the time, and he was still one of those. He was still one of the marquee names for Adidas. It was him, Pogba, and who else really? When you can think about it, it was literally him and Pogba.
But
when I'm talking about in the Premier League, Adidas wise. And now that Adidas has dropped him, it's a different story. But market value wise, in the Muslim world and everything else, he's a big name. And he still attracts a lot of fans. He still has a lot of pull when it comes to social media and everything. So having him means a lot more fans buy his shirt. A lot more fans pay for stuff related to Arsenal because of him. A lot more fans from those countries would not be supporting Liverpool, but still stick with Arsenal due to the fact that they have a countryman.
I don't believe that. I think football fans are football fans, yeah. And if you're not seeing the player that you like playing anymore, I don't think you continue to follow them. Not a chance.
I can't argue with you there, but just to reiterate his point, he does, as a player, he does have a huge profile. And while I can't speak on the accounts of the club in any way, shape, or form, I'm sure that his profile and the wages that he was being paid, his profile led to him being paid, them agreeing to the 350 grand wage. But beyond that, I think that over time, he's had such a detrimental impact on the younger players, on the locker room, with the wage reductions, so many things that were just detrimental, that even if he has a profile, like whatever benefit that he brings to the club, it's not worth it anymore for us. It's not worth it, because his behavior is going to have a huge detrimental effect on the young players beneath him. Look at all of these, when he stands up in the locker room and says, "Listen, I'm not going to take a reduction in wages," and the captain and the rest of the players are ready to do this, and he says, "No, I'm not going to do this." What impact is this going to have on these younger players like Martinelli, like Saka, in 2 or 3 years' time, when the Arsenal players need to come to the table again and make a decision? You don't think this is going to have an impact on them and their behavior?
It will, but to make a point, I think perhaps, and I don't know how it happened, Arsenal were wrong. Why they do it in a big room? They did it separately. Everyone should have made their own decisions independently, and no one, apart from the director they speak to, should know what that player's action would be. Because it's not right doing it in a big room. People get intimidated. they're pushed to make a decision that perhaps they don't want to make, and it's not for anyone else to challenge anybody's pocket. If he wants to do that, fine, but no one should act, and that's why I'm supporting him here. Because he didn't want to do it, it should not have been made public. Not even the other players should have known about it.
Okay. To be honest, out of us five, do any of us think he still has anything to offer for the club? Because I personally think he doesn't have anything to offer us right now, the way that we play and the style that we need. And I don't think Arteta is interested in him. But do any of you guys think he has anything to offer us on the pitch?
No. Not really, no. I could be
wrong.
What?
He's a wonderfully technically gifted player, isn't he? And like you'd like to think that maybe he could play like a cam role, which we're crying out for someone with that final ball, in the final third. But the problem is, it's probably the work rate that Arteta's going to want from him. He's not going to be able to deliver that. And for Arteta not to want him to play, that speaks volumes in itself. He has to get rid of him. I don't know how he's going to do it though. That's the problem.
Stylistically, the sort of number 10 Ozil is dead. It's out of the game now. So I don't think he can offer anything to Arteta. And the fact, I think personally, the club has been looking at ways to get him out. Whether or not it's a loan we pay off, is he going to accept that? I do not know.
Do you think they tried to bump him off when that thing happened with? With
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, do you reckon they got a hitman out, but they didn't count for Saeed to be there? That was a joke, by the way.
Oh man, come on. That was 14.
Listen,
anyways, guys, can I say something nice about the guy at least? When he came to the club,
we haven't slaughtered him.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying looking back at the beginning when we signed him, we were all excited, we were all happy, and to be honest, he did deliver for the first 2 seasons of his career at Arsenal. But
because he is Wenger let him down.
And I think Wenger did not want to re-sign him. My personal opinion, I think Wenger's stance at the club was always not to re-sign these kind of players and let them go. Even if it means let him and Alexis leave on a free. I think Wenger was ready to let them both leave.
Wenger's never been a man to spend the club's money, so I agree with that.
The thing is, first of all, his first 2 seasons, he played some fantastic football. And even after the last couple of years, unbelievable football. But he still didn't do it against the big teams all the time. That was number 1. That's number 1 with him. And that's why I feel very disappointed at where it's all gone. Because he's got some fantastic, even this season, you watch him sometimes and he's got some fabulous touches. But then again, he's touched a fantastic. You sit there going, "Wow, what a fantastic touch!" You think, how did he do that? Listen, Van Gogh had lovely touches, but he was never going to make a footballer.
Yeah, Melvin, this is why I was
wondering where you were going with there for a minute there. But,
okay, guys, go ahead, Levitt.
No. I agree with what Melvin's saying. I mean, he's probably still the most technically gifted footballer in our club. When you see him on the ball, the way he touches, the soft feet that he has, and the balance and the things he can do, it's very, very frustrating. The game's just moved on. The reason we've not been able to compete with the guys at the top is they've moved on a couple of levels in the way they play. Started off with Pep, and then it's been introduced by Klopp. It's a high pace, high tempo type of football, and he doesn't cut it anymore at that sort of level. So he'd be better off continental football. It's just, I hope they have offered to pay him off, because if they have, I don't see why he would stay. I think the only reason he's staying is for the money now. And let's be honest here, right, as well. He's not a bad guy. He does a lot of stuff for charity. I know that for a fact, right? He's not a bad guy. He's not historically a troublemaker. This is the first time over the last couple of seasons that we've all, the fans have turned on him. He's a bit of a scapegoat over the last couple of years as well, in my opinion. But yeah, he needs to go.
Can I ask you a question? Why hasn't he got more self-respect for himself? I don't understand. He's not
18 million reasons.
Well, but he doesn't. But he can earn that. I reckon he can still earn that money.
What, sitting with an umbrella on a bench? I don't think so. If someone gave me an umbrella on a bench to watch my favourite team or a team play football every week for 18 million with a red umbrella, I'll do it all day long.
But do you think he's happy? Seriously, do you think people like, I'm talking about the great ones here, Messi, Ronaldo, blah blah blah, they can afford not to play football, right? But they still do. and have got it. They would not do what I don't believe what he's been doing and just give up and sit with an umbrella. I would never think I'd see that. I'm sorry, and I think he's lost
I agree.
respect there.
You should want to play, shouldn't you? You should want to play.
Exactly.
Bale do the same thing though.
The fact of the matter is, this is a guy that's now willing to sit on the bench and earn his wage, because he could easily go to David Beckham's new team in USA and earn what he's earning at Arsenal.
China.
But he's what is with him? He's realised that he's had such a huge fall, and I think he can't accept that.
But look at it; it's been a gradual decline. If you look at the Premier League season this season, he has 2 assists, 1 goal. When you look at it, the season before he had 5 goals, 2 assists. The season before that, he had 4 goals, 9 assists. The season before that, 8 goals, 10 assists. Season before that, 6 goals, 19 assists. It's been a gradual decline ever since he came to us.
But in his defense, he hasn't been in the best of teams either, has he? Right? Let's be honest here, right? He didn't have a front three like the front three we got now. Look, I think in his head somewhere he does believe he can still do it. And maybe does anyone actually believe? I'm just playing devil's advocate. Does anyone actually believe that this could be his pride saying, I've still got this? He's looked at Arteta and what he's done, and he's thinking, I could play in this team now. This team's much better. The way they play is brilliant. There's a lot more movement. If he could just play me in the right position, I can prove that I still got it. Does anyone here believe there is that, or do you just think purely it's down to money?
No, I don't think it's down to money. I honestly don't. I think that if he wants to prove Arteta wrong, there's 2 ways of doing it. Playing for the Arsenal and improving, which he ain't going to happen. So the only other way he can do is go to a club and prove Arsenal wrong and Arteta wrong. Why doesn't he do that?
Listen, there is something that in the comment section that just caught my eye that Ali was saying earlier. Bale is doing the same thing. And you say he's at the level and quality of Ozil, maybe even higher, I would say. But what do you guys think about that? We just said top players don't do this, but Bale is doing this right now, and we've heard other players do this before with clubs.
I would.
Go on,
bro. You go.
Compare both situations, because Bale got mistreated while he was actually in good form. Like Zidane came back and decided, I don't want you. But when you're a player who's been on a decline, fair enough, I understand you're on the contract that we've given you, but come on, like, have some self-pride and go and play. Seriously.
But has Bale received the same level of stick that Ozil has?
Can I jump into this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ozil in the interview actually said verbatim, for people just talk crap. And he's like, the media have been talking crap for 2 seasons now. They're like, they don't see what I actually do. They talk about my work rate when and all this stuff. He didn't get into specific details, but he basically says the media have been talking shit about him and he feels targeted. And in my opinion, he has a case, because there's games where they would say, oh, he doesn't run enough. He doesn't do this. He doesn't get back for tackles. But it's just a generic way to attack him when he's actually putting in the work, but we might not get the result, and he gets blamed for it because he is the best player. But at the same time, Melvin, I know what you're going to say. Once again, it's excuses, but it is true. He has been harshly been criticized when it's not actually backed up by any stats or facts.
Hey, Gal, can I say something on that? I do think the media have turned on him a bit. I'm not going to lie, right? This is a totally different subject now, but I mean, there's been a turn on certain celebrities and sports stars over the last 3 or 4 months because of their stances.
Who's breaking up?
Who's breaking up? Me?
No, it's good now. It's good now.
No, I'm good. Right. So if you look at AJ, he made a stance with BLM. Suddenly, everyone's up in arms against AJ. Lewis Hamilton, he wore a lock around his neck during the BLM movement. Suddenly, there's a whole load of people who used to love Lewis Hamilton don't love him anymore. Mesut Ozil, it says something about the Muslims that were being mistreated in China. Suddenly, the media's turned on him. Do you think there's a connection there? Because I have noticed a difference in the way people feel towards certain sports stars and other stars based on their own political stances. So I'd like to hear your points on that, guys.
Just to make a point there, I understand what you're saying, and I do believe that was the case. But I still agree with Melvin. If you get 20 assists per season, I don't care what your political beliefs are. I don't care what you do outside of work. If you, like that season where he had 19 assists and I think it was 6 goals, if he was doing that every season, I don't think anybody would, mate, you could talk about whatever you want to. put a performance in like that every season, and I don't think anybody would have. I don't think the media could have done much, even if they did want to target, even if they did target him or they did want to target him. I don't think they would have been able to do much. But because of the lack of performances, it made it easier. He made himself an easy target.
Lev, I'm gonna let you read this one. Zayn, you got a £9 super chat just for you,
That's
bro.
a familiar name. How you doing, Zayn, man? Nice to see you, bro. Lev, he doesn't have pride. It's all for money. He's a traitor and should be kicked out, and he's a lazy player. What are you trying to say, Zayn?
Zayn is harsh.
No,
Zayn is harsh,
shooting
man.
from the hip. Yeah,
Zayn is harsh. Melvin, this is for you, man. What do you think about what Gunnar Dread's saying right here?
I think he's totally correct. Absolutely correct. I'm not saying I'm blaming Ozil for doing it, but he's gone. He's gone.
Man, and let me get one for Kesh to take in. Kesh, what do you think about this?
Listen, the younger players, that's what I say, it sets a bad example. Maitland-Niles was doing it at one point, and Arteta had to stick it to him. And you just tell the culture was so rotten, and we just need to clear it all out, and we have to start with him. It has to be done.
So let me ask this room the tough question: would you agree with paying him 18 million for him to go today? Do all of you agree with that?
Well,
It's
I mean,
his money. He deserves
personally, myself,
look, no, I wouldn't let him go for 18 million.
You got to pay it anyway, though, don't you? You're gonna have to pay it anyway.
You're gonna pay 24 anyway. 18 million is cutting off 6. So
either one way or another, if you're not playing him, you might as. If you're gonna spend that money, you got to be playing him. If you're not gonna pay that money, if you want to get rid of him, get rid of him. Pay the money, get rid of him. 24 million it is. You save yourself a little bit. If you're not gonna pay him off, and he's gonna sit there and he's gonna take his wages, you got to pay someone like that. You got to play someone like that.
But does he fit in today's football? The high press, the speed at which the Premier League is played at today, it's like playing 10 men or 10 and a half men, whatever you want to call it.
Could he be an impact player?
Yeah.
For 350 grand a week, an impact
I'll do
player.
it. I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. If we do sell him for 18 million, he's gonna go somewhere and they're gonna use him properly, and he's gonna look good. And the fact that you might see two to three highlights of him in a game, people are going to say, why did Arsenal let him go?
I wouldn't be mad, just because of the detrimental effect that he's having on the young players, becoming late to training, things like that. I wouldn't be mad. Even if he had 10 great performances, I don't think he's the same player. I don't think he's ever going to touch more than 15 assists a season again. And that's my opinion. I may be wrong, but I don't see it in him anymore.
Yeah, Zayn is on job today. The man said, get Ozil in a room alone with Roy Keane. Let Roy Keane have a chat with him.
It doesn't matter if he goes and plays well, because he's not going to be in the top 5 league in Europe. So it really doesn't. It's irrelevant for me, honestly.
I think if he goes to a slower league where they sit back and you need that little bit of quality to unlock a defense, like a low block defense, he'll still be able to do it. He could still do it in the Bundesliga. He'll still do it in Serie A.
I agree with that. I agree.
Take him in January and turn it down.
Yeah, let's get Melvin in here. Melvin, you've been itching to say something. What were you saying?
No, I'm saying I agree that if he went to a team, country that played slower football and they played more on the break, it'd be terrific. They say he's great about doing these little passes, but if you've noticed the last few years, with tight defenses, he found it difficult as well. His best, I know he's playing with world-class players, but when you saw him play with Real Madrid, they were pinging that ball and they were moving so fast. It was fantastic. I mean, when we played against Chelsea, beaten 3-0, he scored one. I think he made one as well with Sanchez. But we broke twice. It was fantastic to watch. That was pure Ozil magic. But it was in the situation where the defence was up the other side of the field. But that is what he was good at. When we're breaking, go quickly. When he's dancing with the ball and you've got all the defence there, he just can't do it.
Guys, we have to call out JR. Our brother that looks like Lacazette he's clearly lost his mind. He's saying Ozil is worth 85 million. Let's keep him.
He's still in that bar I met him at a couple of weeks ago. I reckon he's gone back there. He's been there for a few hours now.
Yeah, but he didn't say what currency though, did he?
No, he didn't.
85 Cypriot lira, which is about 5p.
Somali shillings or something like. Let's get it. Anyways, guys, there's a couple more things that he said in his interview. Do you know that? Okay, forget about the interview. I seen something recently. There has been times when he was playing at Arsenal that he's been called out, and I can remember specifically Per Mertesacker called him out during a match one time and said, "Stop caring about yourself and care more about the team."
Was that the infamous when he put his hand up to Mertesacker and he threw his hand in the air?
Yeah. So do you think this has been a problem with Ozil throughout the whole time, and he's never been a real team player, and this just goes to show you how he is, or are we being too harsh to generalize it just to that one point and say that was the first sign of him and who he is as a player?
Can I just to speak to that?
Yeah.
I think Ozil was a great player, a very, very great player at Madrid, but playing at Madrid is its own type of thing. The Spanish league, in my opinion, is not as competitive as the Premier League. And
the players around him.
And the players around him were literally the best, sometimes like some of the best players in the world. So he had a lot of freedom on the ball. He had the space to create. He had the freedom to move around. The players going on. Yeah, the time he had the wingers. He had the players around him. Then you come to the Premier League. It doesn't matter how good you are technically. You have to put in a shift. And I don't think he has it in him. I honestly don't think that he has a 90 minutes. I don't think he can put in a shift in English football then, and I don't think he can do it now.
If he wants to play slow rubbish football, send him to. Oh man, come on!
Do they even play slow rubbish football in Korea? Like,
does
anyone actually watch North Korean football?
You don't know. They've won the last 3 World Cups, North Korea.
They've won what?
People that live there.
They've told their population that they've won the World Cup 3 times apparently. But I don't think that's only because they don't speak to anyone else outside of those borders. So maybe England should do that. Maybe we can win 3 or 4 World Cups like that, Melvin. Just close the borders. Don't speak to anyone else.
What do you guys think of Oro TV and his comment?
Ridiculous.
I think it's completely ridiculous as well. I understand where some people are coming from, and I think David spoke to this very eloquently earlier. I'm never going to knock somebody for making a paycheck. I'm never going to knock you for that. But if the club are willing to offer you 18 million and you can get 6 million somewhere else, mate, have some pride. That's all I'm saying. Have some pride. Go play some football. You're 31 years old. Your career is coming to a close. Go to America. Go do a Zlatan and go have some fun in America, because he's doing nothing but tarnishing his reputation and tarnishing his name, in my opinion.
It will do his brand good in America as well. And he'll look brilliant in America.
I think Inter Miami should come from him. But what are you going to do?
He doesn't want to go over there, though.
Yeah, DC United offered him a contract and he declined.
That's a person that's open to take the money. He's happy to take the money.
Yeah, man.
All right, I've got a question.
I don't think he'd go to America for political reasons, to be honest with you.
He's practicing very good social distancing.
You're talking about...
Don't you pay no attention. That's really cute the way you two are sharing your headphones. It's like you're on a trip. You know, when your daughters share it on a trip.
No, we don't have.
Well done, you two. Well done.
Yeah, come on. You got to call me out like that now.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, I got a bit mad that we called him out for his comment earlier.
Oh man, yeah, guys, we could be talking about Ozil's whole situation the whole time. I'm just gonna jump on another topic quickly. If we can get away from the Ozil thing, we're gonna finish off talking about. We're gonna be playing the FA Cup. The Community Shield versus Liverpool on the 29th on a Saturday at 4:30 on BT Sport. What else is there? We're gonna have Willian announcements gonna be coming soon. Look out for that. Callum Chamber possibly headed to Fulham for 12 million. That's what they're willing to pay for him. But I think he's worth a little bit more than that. Lacazette, Lucas Torreira possible swap deal for this gentleman here at Rome, defensive midfielder. Lucas Torreira seems to be linked to be leaving the club consistently. Other stories that we've heard promise to Arsenal for 20 million. Obviously, we spoke about Lacazette to Juventus, possible swap deal, including one of these two players. And I personally would not take Higuain with a 10-foot pole, but Douglas Costa and 24 million euros. That's the other offer. Ainsley Maitland-Niles update. There's still no offer has been submitted. Guendouzi, still no offer has been submitted. And Leeds have still not submitted an offer either. They just inquired about him. So that's the updates for today. Anything you guys want to touch before we leave?
I want to say, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, what is going on with that? In my opinion, right? Because I personally think he's done a great job for us at right wing back when Bellerin was injured, right? He was to the point where I actually preferred him as a defender. He didn't get bullied as much, and then he's done a great job in the FA Cup final. He's proved himself to be versatile. Players like him are valuable. Why are we even considering letting this guy go? The rest of them that you mentioned, 100%, I'd be all behind that. But I think we'd make a mistake selling Ainsley Maitland-Niles, in my opinion.
I 100% agree with you, and I think it should be very concerning for all Arsenal fans that Arteta requested that he stay and the board overrid his decision.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Wow.
Reports to that happen.
Wow.
True. Arteta will be gone in a year.
If Arteta wants them, he'll stay, I reckon.
The reason why I've read they've done that is because they looked at it, they said his value's going to drop next year. So they said there must be a club offering a very high value for him.
30 million, I'm hearing.
But I think he's worth more than 30 million. The value, even if he's coming off the bench, even if because he can play so many positions, and he puts in shift, he puts in a good shift, and he's improved under Arteta, and I feel like he can improve some more. So
it's like having 2 or 3 players, isn't it? Because if you have a right back injured, he can fill in there. If you have a left back injured, he's done that. If you have a midfielder, he can fit. I personally think he's potentially got a future as a CDM.
Yeah, he's our Milner.
Yeah. Tell me what you guys think about this, Melvin. What do you think?
Well, about him, mustn't let him go. I think he's become one of my favourite players, believe it or not.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
100%.
Guys, here's the craziest thing I heard. Okay, we're gonna let Lacazette go. We're gonna get Douglas Costa and 24 million, and we're gonna spend 20 of that 24 million to buy Promise from Ajax. Now, how ludicrous are these transfer rumors?
Just forget about it. It's all rumors. Forget about it.
Well, is Promise better than Lacazette? No, he's not. And he's 28, isn't he? Promise?
Yeah.
I think.
What?
Right. So yeah, he's 28 years. No, I've heard he's 28 years old. I heard TalkSport talking about it. I think it was, or was someone talking about it. Anyway, the fact is, whatever age he is, he's not better than Lacazette. So why would you sell Lacazette and bring him in?
The idea is if Aubameyang through the centre, though. And let's be honest, the fans been asking for that.
Yeah, but you still need another striker. You can't just have Aubameyang. What if Aubameyang gets injured? What if
Martinelli
will get his chance up top, I reckon.
Yeah, I believe, honestly.
Oh my God!
Losing Lacazette and getting Douglas Costa. I'm not sure about Promise. I haven't watched that much of him. I'm not sure.
12 goals this season.
But you got to remember that's in the Dutch league. So,
I mean, I've seen Douglas Costa absolutely tear Bellerin a new one at the Emirates, and that guy is rapid. And the thing is, Italians like to sit back, so he doesn't have as much space to run in behind. So in the Premiership, if a team's attacking you, he's brilliant on the break. He's brilliant. But again, do we need him?
I don't think so.
I think this is a really good point. Douglas Costa and Willian, essentially the same type
That's not
of
going to
player.
happen, is it? It's not going to happen. Not both.
I don't believe a lot of it.
Yeah,
it's silly season, guys. It's silly season. That's why we like it. Transfer windows is pretty much to keep us busy, right?
See that that Gelson Fernandez guy, his agent came out and said there's total lies. So that we've not it to Arsenal. You don't know what the media's talking about.
Isn't it what's his name, his agent? The same one we use for all the others?
Yeah.
Kia Giraffe.
Yeah, Kia. The fact, look, this guy, I've heard he's really, really good. He's the next new Ronaldo and whatever, but I can't see us spending 40 million on him.
He's 18.
17 or 18, yeah. He's unproven yet. He's 40 million.
Bro, we spent 42 million on Pepe. Now we're going to spend 30 million on a kid.
72 on Pepe.
And when we need Thomas Partey and we're not going to spend 44 on him, that's ridiculous.
Unless they could strike up some deal that they believe he's the next big star, like a Messi, you can get 200 mil for him in a few years.
He's in a contract, so the media's not really just feeding out false information. He's in
Kesh, you're right on that.
Yeah, guys. Anyways, I gotta eat before this Atletico versus what's it called, Leipzig game. It's gonna be a big game, Champions League game. We don't talk about Champions League football too much anymore, do we, guys?
No.
What football?
We've got Europa to look forward to next season.
I don't even remember the theme tune anymore. So I don't.
Man.
I can hum the Europa one if you want.
Hopefully, you'll be forgetting that soon as well.
Oh, man.
Guys, this
Yeah,
has
hopefully
been,
not because we keep
fun.
going down.
This has been fun, guys. This is always the. And we're out of here, guys. Anyone got anything to say before we leave?
You got to warn me before you hit me with those flashy intros and shit. I'm not used to it. You need, like, come on, man. Like, give me a break. Come on, me and Melvin, we're not used to all this tech.
Yeah.
Give us a warning first, yeah?
I've got a pencil and pad. That's all I've got, mate.
Mate, I thought I was flashy with this. I spent £5 at Tigers for it.
Oh, man. Respect to you guys. Yo, Levin, don't know, bro. Kesh,
Enjoy it.
bro.
All right, Kesh.
Melvin, peace out, bro. And yo, we're out, people.